It's funny how memories keep bringing you back to me. Just when I started to get myself together again, thoughts of you come creeping in. Met at a party in June, wasn't really trying to notice you. You looked at me with your sweet brown eyes, you walked up and said hi. Who would have known that a love affair like ours would grow, and then slip away? Still miss that old school love, not quite that do-right love. Your love was fine, but never on time. You're steady on my mind. Still miss that old school love.
If I may begin with a wee story about this song from Divine Brown and Old School Love, my choice for this Friday the 13th, All Request Friday Love Songs edition. But we continue to celebrate Black artists on the show because it is Black History Month. And a long time ago, at a radio station not all that far away, to be honest with you, I was in the station, that station not too far away, when Divine Brown joined us at the station and sang live, unprepared. I remember when we asked, well, the announcer on the air at the time asked if she would sing a little bit of her big hit at the time, which was Old School Love. And she's like, but I haven't warmed up. I'm not ready. And then she just began to sing. And it was one of the most beautiful sounds I have ever heard. It stuck with me ever since. And so I thought, why not stick it with you, a recorded version, as opposed to that live version that I had the privilege of hearing some, I don't know, how, my gosh, I bet you it's 20 years ago. Holy Hannah. Nonetheless, it was beautiful when I first heard it. I was quite taken with Ms. Brown's voice, and I thought that's how I'm going to start this All Request Friday Love Songs edition. And we continue to celebrate Black artists here on the show. Hey, how are you? Happy Friday morning. Great to have you here. Thanks for dealing with the slight interruption to the usual show schedule yesterday. As I told you, I was going to be spending some time with family, and I shared details on our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Mike Farwell Show. And so many of you had so many nice things to say about my Aunt Sandy. So thank you very much for that. It is truly appreciated. And if you'll indulge me and forgive me, quite frankly, because this is a bit of a boast, I suppose, but I've joked often in the past about this Farwell family mafia around here. And I use the term, loosely and kindly, but when I saw the turnout and the outpouring at my Aunt Sandy's funeral yesterday, it just reminded me again what a force my family members have been for so many decades in this community. My Aunt Sandy, one of 5 siblings of my father, so there were 6 in the family, born to Dorothy and Albert Farwell. And Bert, my grandfather, literally helped to build this community. He was a tradesman, and he built many homes that still obviously stand in our community today. And I had forgotten until yesterday, which is shame on me, but I had forgotten until yesterday that my grandmother, Dorothy, worked in the cafeteria at St. Jerome's High School back in the day. And I don't know how, I guess it just hadn't been something I hadn't thought of for quite some time. And I actually worked there with her for a little bit, picked up some part-time hours, among other students that got the chance to do that. I probably had an in because my grandma was running the show, but that put her in contact with so many people in our community, right? My grandma, Dorothy. And it was that connection that I spoke with Kitchener Mayor Barry Verbanovic about yesterday, because he attended my Aunt Sandy's funeral. He says, I feel like I've been connected to this Farwell family since those days at St. Jerome's High School when your grandma was working in the cafeteria. So just another way that the family has been connected. My Uncle Roger, I've told you about many, many times, and he was an absolute force in this community, doing so many good things in so many different ways. Spent his career largely with the Walter Fady Group, and also helped in so many ways to build this community with the buildings that he designed as an architect. My Aunt Sandy, who we celebrated yesterday, decades at the Waterloo Region Record, way back when it was the KW Record. Did we ever have the Kitchener Record? That might have been before my time if it was, but nonetheless, she worked at the local newspaper for decades, and her daughter, my cousin, gave a beautiful eulogy yesterday, and talked about 3 lessons that she took from her mom, my Aunt Sandy. One of them being to try. No matter what the challenge is, you give it your best shot. The other, or another of the 3 lessons, was to have the courage and the humility to ask for help when the situation warranted that. And the third was to love, because if you were on team Aunt Sandy, to me, then you were on her team. And she showered you with affection and made sure that you were cared for. And that's just the way that it was. So to try, to ask for help, and to love, the 3 lessons that my cousin Maureen took from her mom, my Aunt Sandy. And it was a beautiful celebration yesterday over at St. Daniel's Church. And you know, it's funny, you get to a certain age and stage of life, and I'm sure that many of you have arrived here, and if you haven't, you will. But it's the old joke that we only get together for weddings and funerals, right? And so it's not so often that the entire family like that gets together. And I even joked with my Uncle Jim, who I know many of you know, because you want to talk about a guy that's embedded, avid golfer, very good golfer, knows a lot of people from his home course at Deer Ridge, has coached hockey in this community for many, many years, and has been in contact with many of the players that have not only been here, but gone on. He coached Nick Hague when he was here in Kitchener back in the day. So it just goes on from there. But we kind of joked together as we were leaving the church yesterday about this Farwell family mafia. If you want something done, you find yourself a Farwell, and they'll do pretty good job for you. I am incredibly fortunate to come from such a group of people that have blazed so many trails in this community. And a special thank you and a shout out to our friends Francis and Sherry in Listowel, who are regular listeners to this program. And Francis had sent me a nice email. I had forgotten about his connection to my Aunt Joyce, who is the oldest of my father's siblings. And he had sent a nice message, Francis did, before I left on Wednesday. And then yesterday, when I arrived at the church for the funeral, my Aunt Joyce gave me 2 hugs. She said one is from her and one is from Francis and Sherry, because they had sent her an email asking that I receive that extra hug. On that same note, and then I promise I'm done with the heavier stuff, but my Aunt Joyce worked for many years for Donovan Insurance in Waterloo. And as you have probably heard, a member of that family, Brian Donovan, was the victim of an assault in Waterloo just the other day. And his brother Kevin, for whom my aunt worked at Donovan Insurance, shared with us the information about what had happened to Brian. And that's just an awful tragedy. So as we Farwells celebrate the life of our Aunt Sandy, the Donovans, who are connected to our family, are going through a rough time. So my sincere condolences to the Donovan family for the loss of Brian, the untimely loss of Brian in such an absolutely senseless way. As I said, we'll put aside the heavier stuff now. It is Friday after all. And look, we'll have time to get into some heavier things, including Tumbler Ridge, right? When our Friday 4 roundtable gets together at 11 this morning, we'll do the full hour, as we always do, with our guests discussing the big stories of the week. And there is a lot to cover on the show today. Most of it nice Friday kind of feel. And if you want to feel a Friday or a frigid Friday, you should join me here in Kingston. I went outside this morning to shoot the video to promote what's coming up on the show. And let me tell you, the street corner I was standing on, it's nice and it's sunny, but it is cold here in Kingston. So I hope you're staying warm where you are, and you're going to get the same show you always get I'm here in Kingston. You're listening back in the region of Waterloo, and the connections are always open. The phone lines, like we do every day as soon as we start, are open to you. We'll play your requests through the show, and your not $1 million question is coming up as well. But right now, let's get to your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday morning.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. Money can't buy you.
We will start, of course, at number 1, and Prime Minister Mark Carney, who will visit Tumbler Ridge, BC today in the wake of that mass shooting that has rocked the small community and, quite frankly, the entire country. Carney is to attend a vigil along with other federal party leaders. Number 2, leaders of 2 organizations representing Ontario's colleges and universities are reacting positively to the province's move to add billions in new funding to post-secondary institutions. President and CEO of the Council of Ontario Universities, Steve Orsini, says the new investment strengthens the foundation universities provide, creates greater sustainability and long-term planning to support students and communities. Meanwhile, the president and CEO of Colleges Ontario, Maureen Adamson, says the funding, quote, expands regional opportunities for learners and employers alike. The province's move in response to a reported post-secondary financial crisis also lifts a 7-year tuition fee freeze and reduces student assistance grants. Number 3, police say they have arrested and charged a 64-year-old man and a 17-year-old girl after they allegedly made threats against a high school in Guelph. Police say they received information about the threats made against the staff and students of John F. Ross Collegiate Vocational Institute Wednesday evening. The Upper Grand District School Board closed the school yesterday as a precaution. Investigators say officers carried out 2 search warrants and located a firearm Thursday morning. Police say a 3rd suspect was also arrested for unauthorized possession of a firearm. Number 4, the River Rats Run Club is hosting a Galentine's Day run tomorrow in support of Women's Crisis Services of Waterloo Region. The run begins at the Gaslight District with a warm-up at 10 in the morning, and that follows then a 2-kilometer loop for the run. You don't have to be an expert runner by any stretch, just go out and support. A professional photographer is donating his time, with the purchase of photos being donated to the Women's Crisis Center. Following the run, the group will head to Melville Cafe for discounted refreshments and a social. What a great way to spend Galentine's Day tomorrow. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning. Next Tuesday, February the 17th, the Princess Twin hosts a tag team spectacle. It will be the book launch party for Kayfabe News, Unreal News about an unreal sport, followed immediately by a screening of the comedic documentary The Ref Didn't See It, both of which are dedicated to Marshall Ward. And if you didn't piece it together, this is very much about that sport of wrestling. That's coming up next Tuesday at the Princess Twin, the tag team spectacle of the book launch and the screening of The Ref Didn't See It. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday morning.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!
It's always a tough room. It's always a tough room, even on a Friday. You know what else is tough on Fridays? Our not $1 million question. But you have done a pretty good job of coming up with the answer in the past. I don't know. I should have kept track of how many we answer and how many we just keep guessing at. But there have been several, for sure, that have been answered, meaning several of you have gone through your Friday and likely your entire weekend with us thinking that you are the smartest person alive. That's all we can offer you, our admiration in this contest, because really, I have nothing to give you other than that. I will be impressed with you. The very first time we did this, I called it the $1 million question, and somebody asked me, if I get it right, are you going to give me $1 million? I'm like, no, I'm not actually. So that's why we call it the not $1 million question. And feel free to take your best guess. This morning's not $1 million question. The average person has 4 of these in their car right now. What are they? 4 of these in their car right now. What are these things that the average person, are you an average person, has in your car right now? At least 4 of them. Want to take a stab at our not $1 million question this morning? Phone lines are open to you. We'll start taking your guesses right after this on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is all right with me. 'Cause you make me feel so brand new. And I want to spend my life with you. Let me say, sing,
And there's a little bit of Al Green and Let's Stay Together on this All Request Friday Love Songs edition. Love songs by Black artists as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. And Phil wanted to hear that one. So there you go, Philip. Al Green and Let's Stay Together. All Request Friday. Black artists doing love songs here on the Mike Farwell Show. Something else we do every Friday is the not $1 million question. Ask you a question, see if you can come up with the answer and impress all of us. And we'll think you're the smartest person, at least for the rest of the day, maybe even through the weekend. The question today is the average person has 4 of these in their car right now. What are these things that we have 4 of in our vehicles at this moment? Let's start with George on the not $1 million question this morning. George, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. If you see my daughter, by the way, in Kingston, say hello to her for me. She's attending Queens this season.
I love it. And I will, you know what? I took a walk yesterday when we got here because we got here before dark and it was really nice. I love this city. And I found myself on the campus at Queens. And it's so inspiring to me to be, I picked up a lot of conversations as I was walking by, groups of students and whatnot. And anyway, they inspire me. The world is in good hands today. I feel that. And I don't know if I encountered your daughter, but if I take my walk this afternoon in the same direction, I'll be on the lookout, buddy.
For sure, for sure. It's a beautiful part of the city, that's for sure.
It really is. Amen to that.
Okay, here's my answer. I believe I have myself 4 of these floor mats.
Oh, George, what a great guess. Not the answer we're looking for. And truthfully, not the one that I first thought of myself. But I like that because, of course, right? That would be the logical answer to this. 4 floor mats. But no, not the answer we're looking for. Let's go next to Mike, see if he knows the answer to our not $1 million question. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How about you?
Not too bad. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for making it.
Your last guess was on the money with the 4 floor mats, but mine's a little different. I'm going to stab at and say that you have 4 pens, writing devices in your vehicle.
That would be my vehicle for sure, maybe even more. You know how much I love a good pen, Mike. Thanks for that. Not the answer we're looking for, but good guess, bud. Thanks for calling in today. I love that. And listen, it's not untrue. I have pens everywhere. The pen that I'm holding this morning, I took out of the pocket of my suit jacket that I'm wearing because there's always a pen there. I have to have a pen handy, but it is not the answer that we're looking for. Let's go next to Rick. Rick, do you have the answer to our not $1 million question this morning? The average person has 4 of these in their vehicle as we speak. What are they, Rick?
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
4 coins.
Coins.
Yeah, like lily, toonie, quarters.
I got you. That, you know what? That's another very good guess. Appreciate it. Not the answer. I know it's so disappointing when we're not going to consider you the smartest person alive for the rest of the day, right? Not coins. Can I tell you? I mean, I'm not telling tales out of school because obviously Rick has coins in the car. So do I. There's a whole lot more than 4. But see, I don't find myself using them much anymore. And I'm just going to leave it right there because I was about to I almost gave away a hint. Okay, let's go next to Jeff. Farwell's Force member number 313 on the show this morning. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. Oh,
good.
At first, I was going to choose floor mats, but that was taken. Then I was walking around the store here, and I was like, "Oh, I'll think about pens." And then the other guy took it. And then as I continued to walk, I was thinking about coins, and then the other guy took it. So I'm going to go with coupons.
Oh, oh, I like that one a lot. That's a very good guess. Unfortunately, not the answer we're looking for, but I like where you're coming from, Jeff. Thanks for calling in, bud. I have some of those too. And it's funny because you get them and you put them in there, or those frequent buyer cards, like the coffee card, you get stamped, etc. And they sit right there in this little tray that I have at my shifter in my car. And do you think I ever pull them out and use the coupon or get my card stamped? I never think about it. That's a very good guess. I like it, but not the answer we're looking for. We'll try Mayor Jake next on our not $1 million question. Your worship, good morning.
Mike, how are you now?
I'm good, and you?
Not so bad, thanks. Heartfelt condolences to you and your family.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jake.
So my guess is my wife would say garbage for me, but my guess is going to be reusable bags.
Your guess is reusable bags, you say?
That's what I think it is, because I'm thinking about my wife's car.
Mayor Jake, you are the smartest person alive.
You know what? Can I get that on recording and I can send it to my wife, please?
Mayor Jake, you are the smartest person alive. Now it's been said twice. I'm sure we can find a way to get you a recording of it.
Awesome.
Congrats, buddy. That's the answer we were looking for.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, buddy.
Thanks, pal. Good job. Mayor Jake knew the answer. The average person has 4 of these in their vehicle right now. My answer would have been coffee cups. That's what I was thinking. And then I said earlier, I almost gave a hint. I mean, it would have been a hint to the wrong answer, but when we were talking about coins and the number of coins inside a vehicle, I keep mine in a coffee cup. And then I think I'm being really clever by hiding the coins by putting a little canister of chewing gum on top of the coin. So just look, it's chewing gum. It's chewing gum in a coffee cup. There couldn't possibly be anything beneath that chewing gum. It's worth a few bucks, but I try not to make these things visible, and I'm not sure I should just blurt out that these coins are there under the chewing gum, but nonetheless, I thought the answer would have been coffee cups. Instead, the answer, as Mayor Jake points out to us, the average person has at least 4 reusable shopping bags in their vehicle right now. And you know what? I am that guy. I have at least that many. I know that because my beloved is treating me while I'm away on this road trip to get my car detailed by our buddy Ron Downs, who runs Maple Leaf Car Cleaning in New Hamburg. And so I cleaned everything out of the trunk, including all those ding-dang reusable bags. So it's nice and easy for Downsy to do his work. Appreciate you, Downsy, almost as much as I appreciate my beloved for taking my car to you. So it's going to be spick and span when I get back from this road trip on Monday. All right, we continue the show this Friday morning. It's all about local content. And how about this man from Center Wellington who's been collecting pop tabs for how long and how many does he have? I think you'll enjoy the story coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over.
A little bit of Etta James and a song called At Last on this All Request Friday Love Songs edition by Black artists, because Black History Month, of course, is an entire month. We celebrated Black artists on our All Request Friday last week. Why make it a one-week affair? It is Black History Month. And Etta James with At Last by request from Annie, Farwell's Force, member number 7 on this All Request Friday morning. On Fridays, we like to keep things a little bit on the lighter side, share some more, I guess, happier, warm-hearted stories. And this one I could not resist. It took us a bit to track down this guy, probably because he was so busy out collecting the tabs from pop cans in and around Center Wellington. Eric Huber is from Ponsonby, and he joins the show this morning. Mr. Huber, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Oh, excellent, excellent.
I'm glad to hear that. I read some time ago, probably more than a month now, about your efforts to collect these tabs from pop cans. Let's start at the beginning if we can. Like, how did all of this start for you? Why did you start doing it?
For whatever reason, I had a trip to the Aurora Legion and found out that they started taking them. After that trip, that they accepted them to buy wheelchairs. After that trip, we were Storm hockey fans, and we went down there to find out that they had a program going on where if you collected the most tabs, you could win money for the charity of your choice. So this is a great idea, because the tabs after that went to the Legion to buy wheelchairs in Elora. So this started before I knew about this, 22, and I donated to the Elora Legion before I found out about even though we went to the hockey games, about collecting for competition. Once I started, I think it was probably February of 23, at the Sleeman Center with the Guelph Storm hockey team. 3 different awards were mentioned from Sleeman's breweries, which, if you collected the most tabs, there were 3 categories at that time. The most tabs was for a school that collected. The second was, or the first, another one was for most tabs the single person got, and the third prize was for tabs for a business. So, and that was for $2,000 for each charity, so a total of $6,000. The winner of each of these categories. I did win, and I sponsored a fellow business here in Guelph. It was a muffler business at the time, but that's not the issue, because all the tabs at that time went to the Legion. So after that, we kept on collecting, and don't get me wrong, I had a lot of help. There's a lot of different people that help in this here. Once they know you're doing it, everybody don't want to take in a pound or two. They want to get together and see if they can get a main feature. So in 24-25, the awards changed to the charity that brought in the most, and they get $2,000 for the charity that brought in the most, $1,000 for the second charity who had the most. So that's a total of $3,000. So they had went down. Then in after 25, which is the season of February of 25, they stopped because, for whatever reason, Sleeman no longer did it, and of course they did it long enough, and they would like somebody else to do it because different reasons. And I still collected. So I still, after February 25, I collected quite a few, and I had no longer a competition going on, so I collected a total of 300 pounds, which I took to the Fergus scrapyard, who gave a little better price for charity because of the one girl that goes to the hockey games and knew all about it. So that was great. So I got actually $225 for the 300 pounds tabs.
How did you get 300 pounds of pop can tabs, though, Eric? 300 pounds. That's a lot of tabs.
I have to tell you, now I'm going to bring in another aspect. I also deal with, there's a group of people that need assistance, and one girl that is Live and Learn, and she came in with over 100 pounds. She came to the place from London, and they had collected them from in London, and they were looking for some charity to donate to. And I had dealt with Live and Learn for different reasons, and she brought in over 100 pounds. So, therefore, a lot of the people that go to Live and Learn are special students or whatever you wish, and they all collected for they go to the Giants hockey team. A lot of them play on the Giants team, which is a special needs hockey team. So I combined them with what I had, and I have a few other legions and a few other places that collect major, and plus all my neighbors help me out. So from this, I made, with that in mind, because Live and Learn is not a charity, I took to especially donate back to the Giants hockey team. From this, I made, from the $225, I made two special donations, or separate donations of $120. I know that's not $225, it's $240, but anyways. One was $120 to the Laura Legion, and one was to the Guelph Giants special hockey team. So once you get into this charity mode, you can't stop. It just keeps on going and going.
Eric, do they call you the pop tab man of Ponsonby?
Well, yeah. Now you have to realize Ponsonby is a very small place. It doesn't even it doesn't have a amount of people that live here.
I had this vision of you going out from one recycling bin to the next, pulling the tabs off all of those soon-to-be recycled pop cans.
You would be doing a lot of work because it takes a minute or so to twist off, or a second to twist off each one, and there's millions of pop tabs. If I had a penny for every pop tab I donated, I'd be well off. Trust me. Even though pennies are hard to come by now.
They are very hard to come by now. I'm not even sure the banks still take them, do they? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, the banks will take them. Yeah,
all right.
Banks will take them.
Yeah.
But this is a very needy program, because students and people can do this without, like, if you take it off a beer can, your beer can's still worth the 10 cents. Go and collect it without the tab. So you sort of double up your benefit. I know it sounds cheesy, but if everybody gives a little, it helps a lot when you're doing this here.
Any plans after 300 pounds collected last year, Eric? Any plans of slowing down, or are you going to keep on doing this?
Well, like I said, you can't stop once you're it's like a snowball rolling down a hill.
And now, that's right, people have come to expect it, right? When it comes around, Eric's going to have collected all of these pop can tabs and make a donation to us.
That's exactly right. And it just goes on, and people, even at the hockey games now, people will bring them down to me and drop them off where I sit. And I usually have a bag with me, and I put them in and go from there. And I even have a donation tab sitting down in the main bar there. So it says for the Legion and Giants and the Legion. So
that's fantastic.
And it covers both places. It covers Guelph and Elora.
You know what, Eric? It's a fantastic story, and I am so impressed by your efforts and the desire to continue. You said once you start this, you just can't stop doing it for charity. I think it's great. Thanks for what you're doing, and thanks very much for joining the show today.
Not a problem. I certainly look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Indeed, sir. Enjoy that next Guelph Storm game, too.
I sure will. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Eric Huber, the Pop Can Tab Man of Ponsonby, little unincorporated community. If you were to quadrangle Waterloo Region, Elora, Rockwood, and Guelph, you'll find Ponsonby kind of in the middle of all of that. But that's where Eric Huber resides. And this is the man that for years now has collected the tabs from pop cans and beer cans. And last year, 300 pounds collected. And you heard him describe the thousands of dollars that he's been raising for charity over these years. And now he just can't stop. You know, two things here, if I may. One is I think this automatically qualifies as our Not Everyone is a Jackwagon story for the day. Another live Not Everyone is a Jackwagon. We got to do that on Wednesday morning as well when we talked to Lou DeVita of New Hamburg, just all of the stuff that he has done for Wilmot Township out of the goodness of his heart. A couple of social media sites, Show Us Your Wilmot being one of them, and What's Up Wilmot, I think, was the other. But Lou administrates these sites, and they're all just to promote good things. You know how social media sites can sometimes end up, right? But Lou keeps a close eye on it. It's all very positive. You're showing beautiful pictures of the township because, let's face it, it's a beautiful township. So we got to talk to Lou live on the show, and that's just scratching the surface of what Lou has done for the community in Wilmot, specifically New Hamburg. So we got to have a live version of Not Everyone is a Jackwagon there, and here with Eric Huber, the pop can tab collector, another live edition of Not Everyone is a Jackwagon. That's one part of it. The other part of it is there's a connection to what Eric is doing and my family. If you're not sick of hearing about my family yet, have I told you about the Farwell family mafia? Like I didn't have any choice but to do good things in this community because I have had so many role models paving the way. But I'll tell you, that connection, these can tabs, because quite frankly, and I can say this now because he's away enjoying a nice sunny tropical vacation in Hawaii. My father drives me crazy, and I'll tell you why. Coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I woke up to the morning sky first, baby blue just like we rehearsed. When I get up off this ground, I shake leaves back down to the brown, 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 till I'm clean.
It's a song called Colors by the Black Pumas. By request on this All Request Friday Love Songs by Black Artists edition. And Maria wanted to hear the Black Pumas on the show today. Your request is our command on All Request Fridays. We just spoke with Eric Huber from Ponsonby, not far from Elora, who has been for many years now collecting the tabs from pop cans to support. It started out with the collection at the Legion to buy some wheelchairs, and it just grew from there. Once he got into it, he found all kinds of different ways to make this a charitable pursuit, and now supports the Guelph Giants special needs hockey team and continuing to support the Elora Legion as well with his efforts. Collected 300 pounds of pop can tabs just last year alone. It's incredible stuff. And Eric says it's one of those things, like once he got started, he just couldn't stop. It's like a snowball of charitable work. And it reminds me of my father in a slightly different vein, because my folks have for many years been some of those people in your neighborhood that come around and go through your recycling bin in search of wine bottles or beer cans, anything that they can get to get money for. And I like to tease my dad. I'm like, Dad, listen, you spent 30 plus years as an educator in this community. You got a pretty nice pension. Can you stop doing this lest people start thinking that you are hard up and you need to collect these wine bottles and beer cans to make ends meet? I like to tease them about that. But they're doing it. My parents do it for another charity, Canada Food for Children. And so they do this as a charitable effort as well. Every time it's collection day in our neighborhood, out they go, and they're going through all the recycling bins looking for these worthwhile wine bottles, beer cans, whatever. And so I save my empties, and every now and again, I'll hand him a whole bunch. And when it comes to the beer cans, before he turns them into the charity, he also is removing the tabs. So like Eric, he can support another charity for wheelchairs, whatever the case may be. So it's like a double dip into the charity department. And I just picture my father, out they go, mom and dad, it's a tag team effort to collect the wine bottles and the beer cans, and then back to the garage they go so he can sort, he can organize, and he can pull all those ding-dang tabs off the cans. I'm like, Dad, you drive me nuts. But I suppose that's what parents are on this earth to do, right? You reach that certain stage in your life, they take very good care of you, they raise you into good young men and women, and then you reach the point where you look at your parents and go, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. You're driving me crazy, but I still love you. You know? At least that's where we're at. The Farwell family. Ahead of our 10 a.m. update from the 570 News Center, let's get to the phones because our good friend Francis has been waiting. He lives out in God's country, the God's country of Listowel, with his beautiful wife, Sherry. Francis, good morning.
Good morning. I feel like my head's going to explode. Thanks for the great comments before. They're part of your show, but I want to get back to these tabs. At least 30 years ago, in Laura and with many friends in the Knights of Columbus of Maryhill, we collected, well, like I say, with a whole bunch of us, a great group of people, we collected enough tabs to get a power wheelchair for Sherry's brother. And it was completely paid for, and they presented him this power wheelchair one day while we were still went to the Legion to get it. And with
That's fantastic.
And I'll say, God bless. Have a great day.
Francis, before you go.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
I received your email and that extra hug from my aunt. Can you please remind me how you know my Aunt Joyce?
We're part of what they call the Curfew group. We get together on Saturday mornings.
Oh, my gosh. So my aunt invited me to attend. I haven't been able to yet, but I look forward to joining you one of these mornings.
Well, why don't you? You can even join us on Zoom someday. That's how we get there most of the time.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So my aunt does it out of St. Dan's, so that's not far for me. One of these Saturdays I'll be there. I'll have a coffee with you, and we'll enjoy some time together.
Well, you let us know, and we'll make sure we make a trip to get there in person.
That sounds great. Francis, thanks so much.
You're welcome. God bless.
And you too, sir, and to Sherry as well. Oh, it is a small world after all. I never thought much about that. That's another thing you realize the older you get. Heck, I was leaving a building on the boardwalk yesterday morning ahead of the funeral that I attended for my Aunt Sandy. And this woman holds the door for me and says hi. And she's like, I know that voice anywhere. I'm like, okay. I'm Rod Dunkel's daughter. So Rod, long history, nickname Rocky in hockey in this community. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like Dunk's daughter. We got it, just like that. And she says it's a small world. It is a small world. Francis very closely connected to my Aunt Joyce, and Rocky's daughter holding doors on buildings at the boardwalk. That's how small this town is. All right, I'm going to get you to the 570 News Center for that update I mentioned, and then a busy hour coming up, which will begin with a conversation about the gala ball that is coming up in a couple of months' time in support of the Royal Highland Fusiliers of Cambridge. That story next on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
So much it makes you cry. Have you ever needed something so bad you can't sleep at night? Have you ever tried to find the words but they don't come out right? Have you ever been in love so bad you'd do anything to make them understand?
That's a little bit of Brandy and Have You Ever on this All Request Friday Love Songs by Black Artists edition as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. And Clinton, Farwell's Force member number 35, wanted to hear that one. Very pleased to welcome back to the show. And, you know, I'm thinking, Jane Klugman, we should do this more often than just when the Gala Ball for the Royal Highland Fusiliers is coming up, shouldn't we?
We should. We really should. I would love to do it more often.
It is great to have you back. You're the honorary colonel for the Royal Highland Fusiliers of Cambridge. The Gala Ball coming up soon. But can we talk a little bit about our Royal Highland Fusiliers? Because I'm not certain that everybody fully appreciates the role that they play in our community.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. And I have been saying for the last, let's say 6 months, 12 months, that there's no better time to be in the Canadian Armed Forces than right now. And we have our own regiment right in our community. So the Royal Highland Fusiliers of Canada, it's a royal designation. It's a long and storied history, this regiment. We go back to 1866. We're older than the country itself. And we're made up of reservists. So the reservists basically have daytime jobs, activities, whether they're in school or they have full-time jobs, and they come to our unit one night a week and 1 weekend a month. That's what they promise. They usually over-deliver, and they're there a lot more than that. But some outstanding individuals that do a lot of great work for our great country.
The Gala Ball coming up on Saturday, April the 18th. What does that aim to do?
So that is basically a fundraiser for our soldiers. So we have a trust set up, which is we have a council. It's an advisory board to the commanding officer of the unit. Commanding officer is Lieutenant Colonel Jason Robinson. He's been in the position now just a little bit more than a year and has grown the unit. We're sitting at about 250 strong soldiers. And so a lot of these soldiers, even though they do have daytime jobs where they're going to school, also have other needs. There's things that are happening in their lives. Sometimes there's more month at the end of the money. And so council raises money to help with that. We're a Highland unit as well. So we have lots of extras that sometimes the government doesn't end up paying for in our kit. And, you know, the council will help to pay for those things as well. And we have soldiers right now that are deployed. And sometimes when they go away, they just need a little extra help for somebody who's left behind at home, whether it's, you know, a spouse, a partner, or even an animal that they need to have extra help to look after that. So, you know, these are things that council does. It can go to education. It can go to a lot of different things. So that's what we raise money for. And the gala is a fun way to raise money. We have everyone dressed up in mess kit, and it's a very formal event, black tie for civilians and mess kit for anyone who's serving or formerly served.
So there is a great deal of pomp and circumstance associated with this.
Absolutely. And like I said, we're a Highland unit. So we also have, I like to say, the best band in the land, and it's a pipes and drums band. So if the bagpipes are something that you enjoy or love now and then, it's the place to be. We do an ode to the haggis that can't be beat anywhere. If you've never heard the ode to the haggis, that's worth the price of admission in itself.
How did it come to pass, Jane, that you became the honorary colonel for this regiment? Because this is a big, hairy deal to have a woman in this position. I know this.
Yeah. So that's a really good question. And I was invited to be on the council, which is the advisory board, back in 2012. And I learned a lot about the regiment, and it's up to the commanding officer of the day. So this would have been in 2017 when Mark Poland, who has gone on to be a chief justice in the legal system for Ontario, I believe, came to me and said, Jane, I would like you to be the next honorary lieutenant colonel. So there's a lieutenant colonel and then the colonel. And I had said to him at the time, I said, Mark, that seems like a huge responsibility and a huge commitment. He said, it is. And he said to me, well, why don't you go and do your research on it and come back? And I said, fine. So the first thing I did was I called up my good friend, David Johnson, and I said, David, can you give me some insight? He was the Governor General at the time. I said, can you give me some insight as to what this honorary colonel position is and what it means? And he said, as David could only say, well, Jane, when your country asks you to serve, the only answer is yes. And I said, absolutely. So I did more research, but I did ultimately say yes. And what it is I had to apply into the position, and it's a position that has to be approved by our unit, which it was because Mark had asked me. Then it goes to our brigade, which is the next level up. Then it goes to our division leader, which is the next level up. And then it goes to the Chief of Defense Staff's office. And then it goes to the Minister of National Defense's office. And it's actually an appointment by the Minister of National Defense. So at the end of the day, he or she is the one that signs off on that appointment. And there's honorary colonels. They are known to be in the reserve units across the country. It's something that was started back in the 1800s, and it's typically someone who is in the business community, who can connect the business community to the regiment to help support the regiment and be the spokesperson for it. Like you said, Mike, I am the first female ever in the role within the Royal Highland Fusiliers of Canada. I'm proud to say that our council is made up. I was one of the first females on our council as well in 2012. And our council is now pretty much a 50-50 split of female-male. And I'm very proud of what we've done with the regiment as well.
So former Governor General, President of the University of Waterloo, David Johnston, says to you, when you seek his sage advice, when your country asks for you to serve, there's only one answer. Any regrets on the answer you gave, Jane?
Absolutely none. This has been the best experience that I could ever talk about. And I've been starting to run what I call executreks. So I will take employers, because a lot of our challenge right now is we're growing this unit. And like I said, we're sitting at about 250 soldiers right now. We're growing this unit over the next 5 years, probably 4x. And that's the way the entire Canadian Army is growing. So there has been, we want to go from 20,000 reservists across the country to 100,000 reservists. We want to grow the supplementary reserve, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's not been a very active piece of the reserve unit, and it's sitting, I don't know, probably about 5,000 right now. They want to grow it to 300,000. So, this is a huge, huge commitment by the Department of National Defense to grow our Canadian Army. And, the reservists play a huge, huge role in that. Our concerns lie in, will we be able to retain them? Will they be able to continue to have employment in this community? And what can we do to help them get the best employment that they can possibly have so that they don't have to move with their families elsewhere in the country? So part of my role is to go out and talk to employers, to bring employers to training sites and watch what our soldiers are learning, because it's not just fighting, it's strategy, it's leadership. It's all the great things that employers typically have to pay for to train their employees to be leaders in their organizations. And the Canadian Armed Forces provides that through the reserves for the employers. And you get some of the best employees. These people, they've got part-time jobs, basically, being in the Canadian Armed Forces. And they show up to that every single day. They show up to their employer every day. These are the A-type, I'm going to get things done, I want to be there employees. These are the ones that you want to have within your organization, in my opinion.
Love it. I couldn't agree more, quite frankly. How can we get tickets to the Gala Ball, the best band in the land, the full mess kit? I mean, I can't wait. I've actually been a part of one ode to the haggis in the past. And you're right. That alone is probably worth the price of admission. But how can we get involved and support, Jane?
So we do have a website. It's rhfc.ca. and everything is listed in there. There's still some sponsorship opportunities. I wanted to say that Bondi and Associates, so Matthew Bondi, has come in to be our president. It's a huge deal for us, and I want to do a big shout out. He does a lot of strategy and advocacy for nation building industry. So anybody who's really trying to grow their industry, he will do strategy and advocacy for them. And he has been a huge supporter of the Royal Highland Fusiliers of Canada. And we love the fact that he's come in as our presenting sponsor. So if you go to rhfc.ca, you can see there's a tab for the ball or the gala, and you can go in and see what that's all about and buy your tickets there. You can get a table, you can buy sponsorship still. You can call me. I'm always happy to talk about it. And if we have employers out there that are interested in learning more, I would love to talk to them as well. I'd come out to see them. I'd invite them to the Armory. We're looking at doing an employer night sometime in between now and stand down in June. So love to have anyone who's interested talk to me.
It's fantastic. RHFC, Royal Highland Fusiliers of Canada, rhfc.ca. The Gala Ball is coming up on Saturday, April the 18th. And we've got 250 reservists strong right here in Cambridge as part of that regiment. Jane, keep up the great work and the advocacy. Thanks very much for joining the show.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate your time.
Jane Klugman is the honorary colonel of the Royal Highland Fusiliers of Canada, 250 reservists strong right here in Cambridge. That Gala Ball coming up on Saturday, April the 18th. Get your tickets, rhfc.ca, or maybe find a sponsorship opportunity like my buddy Matt Bondi did. He's good people, that Bondi boy. He really is. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
My love, there's only you in my life, the only thing that's right.
My first love, your every breath that I take, your every step I make.
I want to share all my love with you. No one else will do.
Oh, Diana Ross, Lionel Richie, Endless Love on your All Request Friday. Love Songs by Black Artists edition. Preston Paul, Farwell's Force member number 45, wanted to hear that one. Okay, I told you earlier, it's a very busy hour. We are now in the midst of it. And our next conversation with a good buddy of mine, Eric Boissonneau, who's the VP and Director of Operations with the Cambridge Redhawks. What a season it has been for not just the Redhawks, but hockey in Cambridge, I think. Eric, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back on, Mike.
Always a pleasure, my friend, and really quite the season, like the resurgence of the Hornets, and then, of course, the Redhawks, their crazy start to the season that got recognition on Hockey Night in Canada. How do you, I mean, and a franchise best in wins, by the way, I should point out for the Redhawks already this season, too. How do you sum all of this up right now, Eric?
Exhilarating. You can't. We didn't go into it expecting it, so to see the results, like we were set to plan for next year and the year after, to see it happen now, the players stepped up, the coaching staff really changed the style of play, and to see the results come through so fast, it's exhilarating, it's exciting, it's phenomenal.
And of course, this weekend coming up, celebrate this resurgence of hockey in Cambridge, Hornets, Redhawks, and you're going to have a hockey day in Cambridge on Family Day.
Yeah, Monday's an exciting day. We've got an afternoon game against Brantford for the Redhawks, and then right in between the two games, because the Hornets will play at 6:30, we've got a skate with the Hornets and the Redhawks. So fans can bring their skates and get out there, get signatures on whatever jerseys they want. There'll be mini sticks. It'll be fun for the kids. We've got all kinds of fun stuff set up. Like there'll be bubbles handed out to the kids, carnival games, coloring books. They can get those, I'm going to say non-permanent tattoos because the other one would probably be bad for kids. But, popcorn, raffle prizes. There's about 20 different prizes just for showing up. Silent auction. We've got a really cool Muskoka chairs, one made with the Redhawks and one made with the Hornets. So really a lot of fun for hockey in Cambridge.
There seems to be a buzz around hockey in Cambridge again, thanks in no small part, Eric, to the Redhawks and the Hornets being back. You see swag all the time now. And I know that you were always interested in making sure that the community played a part in the team's success. And when the team had success, the community would not be forgotten. What's the mood like around hockey in Cambridge these days?
It's unreal. You and I have talked. I walk down the street with my Redhawks jacket or toque, and people stop me, or my Hornets sweaters and T-shirts, and people come up and they comment on how wonderful it is. You can't go to a restaurant without getting stopped. The mayor had an event at City Hall on Saturday, and some of our players came out, and they were doing a shooting target thing with the kids, and all the kids were lined up. It was unreal. You got players like Reed Gamage having the season he's having, and he works at a local store, and kids recognize him there. So it's been a lot of fun. It's exciting. I mean, for the players especially.
How do you keep the team grounded, Eric, when all of this is going on around them? I mentioned the Hockey Night in Canada treatment earlier. That's when the team was 19-0. For sure, you got to 23-0 before that streak got stopped, just shy of the GOHL record. But with all of this going on around you, how do you keep the guys grounded?
You know what? I give credit to the coaching staff. They do all of that. My time, I show up, I talk to the coaching staff, I leave the players alone when it's game day. But Bert and his crew have done just an unreal job at making sure the kids stay focused. Because, as you know, in hockey, it doesn't matter if you're first or last. You can win and lose any game. So to keep them on target and to keep them winning at now 39-5, it's all credit goes to them.
You clinched a playoff spot close to a month ago now, and a franchise record in wins. As the guy at the helm of this organization and the leadership role that you have, Eric, how does that make you feel?
I'm going to say dreams come true, but it's a small dream. Owning was the big one. But to see that the people you put in place, because again, it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people. And I got lucky. I mean, it starts with Todd Hoffman at the top, who's my right-hand man, all the way down to Sean McPherson, who's our equipment manager. You know what I mean? It just goes from top to bottom.
For the Family Day Hockey Day in Cambridge, do we just show up at the Galt Arena Gardens?
Yeah, you just show up. If kids under the age of 12 wear their team jerseys, they get in for free, accompanied by a parent. You can spend the whole day there. You can leave. You can come back. You can play the games. You can skate. Now bring your skates because we don't provide those. But go out and have a great time. There's going to be tons of minor hockey kids running around, so be prepared. And that's what we're doing it for.
It's so much fun to see, and we're witnessing it here. I'm on the road with the Kitchener Rangers this weekend, but we know the buzz that's going on in Cambridge thanks to you, those Redhawks and those Hornets. Eric, thanks so much for joining the show today, and have a great weekend ahead.
Thanks, Mike. Always a pleasure. And you, good luck this weekend on the road.
Thanks very much. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Eric Boissonneau is the VP and Director of Operations with the Cambridge Redhawks. 39-5 playoffs already clinched. It was a franchise best start. They've got more wins than they've ever had in a season. And the Hornets back and creating more buzz. It's Hockey Day in Cambridge on Monday. Get thyself to the Galt Arena Gardens and be a part of the fun. An update from the 570 News Center. And then, yes, we are on the road. The coaches show, though, ahead of a Friday night hockey game because Fridays are hockey days in Kitchener or Kingston. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is a Friday, so of course it is a game day in Kitchener, or in this case, it's a game day in Kingston as the Rangers kick off the Eastern swing right through this long weekend. It will be Ottawa tomorrow and Peterborough on Monday before we make our way back home. The last long road trip of the season. And on every Friday game day at this time, we check in with Rangers head coach Jussi Ahokas for the Coaches Show. Good morning, Jussi.
Yeah, good morning.
Your team had a 14-game point streak come to an end in a loss to Niagara last Saturday, but they were able to bounce back with a win over London at home on Tuesday night. What did you see from your team in that bounce-back game versus London?
I thought we played really good. Our offense, and we forechecked well. We were on pucks. We were working. We defended really well. We didn't give up. Well, I think only 8 chances the whole game. So we did a really good job in defending and really working, and then we got some good goals from front of the net. So all in all, we played a really solid game.
There's something, you see, I can't quite put my finger on it, but about this team, watching them on Tuesday night versus London when they fell behind in the second period, but they found their way back even before the period ended. Like within the game, they're finding the next gear or doing what they have to do. Is it a confidence? Is it maybe a little bit of swagger that I'm seeing from this team?
Well, I would say we have a lot of good leadership in the team. So when they want to win, they want to win. We have winners there, and so they can push back when you need to. And but all in all, I thought we played like 60 minutes of good hockey on Tuesday. So that's I think the biggest part. We keep playing our game, and you keep doing it, and then the results will come.
I thought it might have been one of the best games we've seen yet from Gabe Sherratt. I know the points haven't been there, but he does all kinds of different things. But Tuesday night, he really stood out to me. How do you like that combination right now with Edwards, O'Reilly, and Sherratt on the line together?
Well, I thought that last game they played their best game. There's all three work a lot. Their skill from Sherratt, he works so much. He does all kind of small things. He goes in front of the net. He finishes his hits. He wins battles, and a lot of times he doesn't get the points, but he's the guy who made the screen or he made the forecheck earlier on when we got the puck. So he does a lot of winning things in that line, and I thought that line, all in all, looked really, really good. So hopefully they continue to play the same way.
That game on Tuesday versus London ended with, a little bit of pushback from the Knights, and the players were, pushing, shoving, whatnot, and it looked to me like Jared Woolley was right in the center of that as a former London Knight. How have Sam O'Reilly and Jared Woolley fit into your organization? Because it looks like they're certainly Kitchener Rangers now.
Yeah, they're winners. They want to win, and they've been great ads for our team. And they were really, right now, they're a good, they've came in right away, really good to the team. And good players. That's what they do. They want to win wherever they are, and they've been helping us a lot, and they mixed in perfectly to the team. So we're lucky that we got them.
Dylan Edwards has been an absolute force, 29 points in the 20 games that he's played with your Kitchener Rangers. Did you expect when that trade was made that Dylan Edwards would be threatening the OHL scoring race?
We knew that he's a really good offensive player, and but I didn't know how good of a guy he is. He's a great ad, and I think still there's another gear still what he can take. So we've been really happy in his performance, and all in all the five guys. Andonovsky, of course, he's a Ranger, but still getting him also. So that's they've been really good ads for our team.
I was talking about Ando last night with one of the guys at dinner, and there's something different about him. Like, he's a former captain, but he looks like absolutely he's a step above this league right now, isn't he?
Well, and he's playing when he plays well. Like he that's what a good overage player should be, and that's what I think he's doing. And it's good for him. Like seeing the progress in all these 3 years, like how much every year he gets better and develops, and now his breakouts are way better. Always when he moves his feet, he does a lot of good things. And defensively, of course, he's been one of the top players the last 3 years. So yeah, he's been really solid for us.
It's a huge weekend ahead, UC, not just because it's a long road trip for the team and you play 3 games in 4 days, but you've said before, I mean, we're playing for first place in the Midwest, first place in the Western Conference, even first place in the league, and you're not all that far away, and the first place team, Ottawa, you get to see this weekend. How much attention are you paying right now to the standings?
Not really, not at all. Of course, we want to win, but we want to make ourselves as best possible for the playoffs. That, of course, we want home ice as many times as possible. But I think the biggest thing is for us to keep developing our game and not really looking at standings. And if we play well, I think good things happen. Like it's always of course, you want to be in the top, but it's more when we do good things, we play well, the results will come.
What do you have to do to be successful against the Kingston Frontenacs tonight?
Well, they're a really good home team, so they defend well, and they have good goaltending. So we have to have a shooting mentality. We have to get to the net fronts. We have to tip pucks in. We have to go to the hard areas, and all in all, against them, you have to defend well, and then we have to stay out of the box also, so that we can roll with our 4 lines. But all in all, I think we have to be ready to play, and we know they've been a really good home team. Their home record's really good.
Okay, we'll look forward to the game tonight, and I'll see you at lunch today, okay?
All right, see you then. All right.
All right, thanks.
All right,
bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
UC Ahokas, the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers, joins us every Friday morning at this time for the coaches show. So I have to, I don't know, they didn't assess me a 2-minute penalty for this, but usually on the road, I am doing a better job of thinking ahead, and I did not do that. So by thinking ahead, I mean, I would have recorded this in advance at a time when UC and I were together in the same room, which we have been together in the same room multiple times over the past 12 to 16 hours. And I just, for whatever reason, I wasn't thinking ahead because I'm a dummy, I guess. And so this morning, when I was up getting ready for the show, I realized, I've got this coach's show at 10:30, but the schedule's different on the road, right? So it's not the same where I catch them Friday mornings at home. So I looked at our itinerary for the day and I thought, maybe this can still work. The bottom line is UC and I are about 8 minutes away from each other. I guess we kind of are when we do this in Kitchener too, but he's at the rink down the street with the team, and they're going to be on the ice in about 15 minutes for the morning skate. And I'm here back at the hotel where the team had breakfast before they left for the rink, but I had to be here to do this show because otherwise Rogers and 570 News Radio would be quite upset with me. So I couldn't be there for breakfast, and we had to connect on the phone. I couldn't record in advance like I usually do. And UC made it work without assessing a 2-minute minor to me. So I'm appreciative for that. And I'll remind you, of course, tonight, this is the place for your Harris Law pregame show starting at 6:30. And all of the action between the Frontenacs and the Rangers. You won't get better coverage anywhere else. I promise you that. And it's Friday. That means Friday Headlines with Josh Piercy, which is a great new feature he has added to our broadcast. It's all about the game and the players who play in this league. That's what our broadcasts are all about. You'll come away with more information and a great deal of entertainment as well when you tune in. Last night in the Ontario Hockey League, there were 5 games, including those Kingston Frontenacs in Barrie, where they lost 6-3. So they traveled yesterday. Kingston did, as did we, but we came from Kitchener here to be ready for today's game. They were in Barrie playing and then had to make a 3.5-hour or so trip back home. Again, Kingston loses 6-3 in Barrie last night. Same score in Niagara as the Ice Dogs double up those poor Owen Sound attack. Those attack are struggling. North Bay, a 3-2 shootout win over Brampton last night. Peterborough hammered, and I do mean hammered, Ottawa 7-3, 5 second period goals for the Petes in that one. Remember, the Petes are the team that we face on Monday as we head home from this road trip. And then in Windsor, the Spitfires picked up a 6-4 win over the Sarnia Sting, but the Sting were competitive in that one, Windsor getting the win. So those standings I mentioned a moment ago, I know the head coach won't look at them, but I will. The Rangers sit with 75 points. That is exactly the same number of points as both the Windsor Spitfires and the Flint Firebirds. Windsor has played one more game than both Kitchener and Flint, but all three have 75 points. The Rangers are the first place team. The Ottawa 67s lead the Ontario Hockey League with 79 points. So the Rangers are just 4 points back. They've both played the same number of games. How big is that game tomorrow in Ottawa? But we won't look ahead to that. We'll focus on tonight. Rangers Frontenacs here in Kingston. Your Harris Law pregame show gets underway at 6:30, and you will be with us for the best Rangers coverage you will find anywhere. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, hey, while we're on the road, the KW Titans are at the Memorial Auditorium, and this Family Day, it's a fan fest with the Titans at the Odd. We'll tell you all about it coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far, like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me never before.
The one and only Nat King Cole and Unforgettable on this All Request Friday. Love songs by Black artists edition as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. And that request came in from Mary, Farwell's Force member number 1. With the Kitchener Rangers on the road this weekend, that means the Memorial Auditorium back in Kitchener is wide open for our KW Titans. And after they hit the road to play Lake Erie, they'll be back home on Family Day for a Family Day Fanfest and a big game against the Lebanon Leprechauns. Joining us to talk more about it, the head coach of your KW Titans, Cliff Clinkscales. We call him Coach Cliff. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, man. Thanks for having me, Mike. Appreciate the
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, my friend. And David Schooley joins us as well, the co-owner of the KW Titans. Mr. Schooley, good morning to you.
Mr. Farwell, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How about yourself?
I am just, you know what, excited for the weekend.
Always, it's a great weekend for some Titans basketball. And, Coach, I got to start with you because last weekend it was a nail-biter, but it was a 1-point win for your team, the Titans, over the first place Sudbury 5. How'd you pull that off?
It was a gutsy win for us at home. We wanted to get our win back. They came in here a few weeks before that and kind of stole one from us. So we wanted to get our lick back from them. And they're the defending champs. So having the defending champs in our building, and they in first place right now, was a big game for us. And I told the guys it was a must-win because I know we just got to let that team know that we can play with them.
So what does that tell you about your team? Because obviously you can play with these Sudbury 5. What does that tell you about your Titans, Coach Cliff?
We're a deep team. We're very talented. We was missing 2 starters as well, but this next man up, no excuses mentality for us. So this team is very talented. Every team in this league, you got to play every night. You got to strap it on, be ready to go. You can't play the record, and you just got to be ready to go out and play each and every night. And it's so tough to run on the road that you got to win your home games.
You have to go on the road to play Lake Erie on Sunday and then turn right around and come back home for that Family Day Fan Fest with Lebanon in here on Monday. How difficult is that to be on the road and then right back home to keep these guys ready to play?
Oh, not difficult at all. You just take it one game at a time. Like I said, we a deep team. We could go 12 deep. So the difference with us, I could play everybody on our bench, and we just got to go there and handle business. And it's just about us being locked in and focused, doing the things we need to do on the road to be successful. That's taking care of the road, taking care of the basketball, team rebounding, and just make sure we playing together. And then we turn right back around, come home, and play a team that's going to be a good team as well. It's from another league, but they got some good players and some good pieces, and they got a few players that played in our league as well. So that's going to be a tough game at home as well. So you only can take it one game at a time. Go out there and play your best for 48 minutes and see what we could do. But one game at a time.
I love that philosophy, Coach Cliff. Doesn't matter to us. We'll play Sunday. We'll play Monday. We'll be on the road. We'll be at home. You're going to get Titans basketball every time.
Exactly. There's no excuses. Like I said, I could go with two different starting lineups if that's the case, what I need to be. But we just got to handle the first game first and see how that goes. And then we worry about that when we on the bus coming home and see how we're going to handle the next day.
David, Monday, a big day with the Family Day game at the Memorial Auditorium and a Family Day Fan Fest with our KW Titans on Monday.
Yes, it's always one of our big games, Mike. Very, very big game. It's a great way to spend your family day. A great way to finish off your family day. And we've made time changes. So game starts, tip-off is at 3, but we want people to come. Bring your kids early. Fan Fest starts at 2 in the auditorium there in the concourse level, so the kids can come on out and there's some games to play. We'll have a few players around to meet. And then, as always, Mike, after the game, autographs, right? Our guys are there ready to sign autographs and meet all the young people. We got some really cool things going on that we're going to have 90 girl guides coming out singing the anthem. 90. Wow. That is probably the largest group we've ever had. That's going to be exciting. We've got a big Domino's giveaway. Domino's Pizza, great sponsor. They're going to be giving away a lot of pizzas. I think it's going to be a great day.
David, I know that as an organization, you and everybody involved on the ownership and business side are on the mission, right? You want to win a championship with these KW Titans this year. How excited are you to see this team beat the defending champs last week? And, where do you think this team is at?
Yeah, this is the best team we've ever had. You call him Coach Cliff. I call him G. That stands for general because he's the general out there. He runs the show. He's put together such a team this year that, it wouldn't be surprising most of the time, right, Cliff, that we're pulling half of our points off the bench, right? So, right. We're not playing just 2 or 3 guys or 4 guys. We're playing, 10 or 12 guys on a regular basis.
So, Coach, is David saying this is easy for you? Just next man up, right? You're
Yes. It's not that easy. The guys been working hard. We put in a lot of work. So, for me, I'm comfortable with every guy that we got to plug in. And for me, it's a plug and play. One guy's down in the starting lineup. We just plug in another guy, and then we keep it rolling. So that's the main thing. I try to keep all these guys confident. Let them know that always be ready, so you don't got to get ready.
Yeah.
I love what you guys are doing. It's too bad that we have to be on the road so you can be at the auditorium. But one of these days, I'll be there courtside to watch our Titans with a big game. Coach Cliff, G, and David, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Yeah. You know what? We wish the Rangers a successful weekend, right? Let's bring all the wins home this weekend.
We will for sure. Thank you, gentlemen.
Family Day. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So everybody, Family Day, 2:00 at the Odd.
We'll be there. Thank you.
See you, Mike.
All right. Coach Cliff Clinkscales and David Schooley, co-owner of the KW Titans. The game on Monday is a 3:00 start, but FanFest starts at 2 at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. Those Titans will be on the road in Lake Erie on Sunday. Come right back home to take on the Lebanon Leprechauns for that Family Day FanFest. Fun starts at 2. Game starts at 3. Tickets at kwtitans.com. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
No New Year's Day to celebrate. No chocolate covered candy hearts to give away. No first of spring, no song to sing. In fact, here's just another ordinary day.
I don't know for sure.
No April rain.
No, I don't watch what happens.
No flowers bloom. No wedding Saturday.
It is an all-request Friday here on the show as we celebrate love songs by Black artists. Black History Month continues, of course, and that is Stevie Wonder, and I just called to say I love you. Jim wanted to hear that one on the show this morning. Fridays also mean our Friday 4 Roundtable, where we discuss the week's big stories with a group of invited guests. And we have with us David Kuhn this morning, the former board chair at KW Accessibility. Mr. Kuhn, a very good Friday morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. How's life on the road?
You know what? It's a little cold here, but I quite enjoy the city of Kingston. So far, so good, thank you. How's life back there in KW?
Well, a little less snow than usual, so that's good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. And we've got Steve Bentley with us, Managing Principal, Northern River Financial. Bentley, good morning.
Where are you in this fine province of Ontario? Hopefully you're getting a lot of snow there.
Not a lot of snow, but as much as we have back home in KW, and colder than charity, as my good friend Don Cameron would have said.
Yeah. Let's cross our fingers for the Rangers. They seem to be doing well in the last little while.
They certainly are. We'll have Linda Ockwell-Jenner joining us shortly, I do hope, but let's start with both David and Steve. And David, with you, we'll go first on Tumbler Ridge. I don't know that I need to say any more than that, but your reaction to what we have seen this week in BC.
Yeah, I'm at a loss. I think I can't imagine what it would be like to experience something like this as a parent, a teacher, a classmate, anyone really living in that community right now. And my heart goes out to the victims and their families and everyone in Tumbler Ridge. I think we're very fortunate in this country that it's not to say that we've never had incidents like this before. Obviously we have, but I think we're insulated a little bit, because when stuff like this happens in the States, I think some of us can look at it and obviously we sense the tragedy of it all, but it's more commonplace there. So when it happens here, it's just next level, right? And for me, and I think a lot of people looking at this, when we look at who is involved, like the victims, 12, 13 years old, a teacher, school is supposed to be a safe place. And I think that in and of itself also adds to what makes this unsettling. And after everything like this, there's always conversations about how it can be prevented and, what people do after the fact. And I think it's human nature to have those conversations. But I also think it's important right now that we acknowledge, the human cost. And there's children gone, a teacher gone, families are impacted by this, a whole community. And I think if there's anything that I take from it, I think it's a reminder that we need to pay attention to each other, whether we're parents, relatives, teachers, neighbors, whatever. We need to stay connected to the people in our lives. And if we notice something, if we notice somebody struggling or going through something difficult, we should not ignore it. And we should check in, and we should make sure that when someone needs help, whether it's an adult or whether it's a child, that they have access to that help. because whatever anyone's experiencing, it tends to ripple out to other people and to communities. And sometimes the most important thing is to be present and really attentive to those around us. But honestly, I'm still shocked by this whole thing.
It's really well said, David, on so many levels, with the layers to this story and the impact that it has on all of us, no matter how far away from Tumbler Ridge we are. And I think that idea of checking in and really hoping then, too, I would add, that the supports are available once we have checked in, if there is need of support. And we talk a lot about the mental health crisis in this country. I know there's been some talk federally about increasing supports in that regard, but this would be a good example as to why. Steve, I'll throw it over to you for thoughts on Tumbler Ridge.
I have been to that town many years ago, and I'm just shocked as to what's happened there. In comparison to what happens in the South, it just pales in comparison to a reaction that down there just seems to be, every couple of weeks there's another shooting. Here, it just takes a whole nation and makes us pause and think. I am still trying to dig into some of the investigative work, and I do wish I know people want answers, but they need time to dig into what's happened, why it's happened, what was missed. For example, my understanding is that firearms should not have been in that house. The police were aware of the mental health issues. They had made multiple calls there. So I don't know what happened there, but I was listening to the RCMP deputy commissioner yesterday, and he really laid it out and basically said, we want to get to the bottom of this. Let's just wait. It's just travesty. I mean, it's just another shooting that in some ways, potentially could have been as a result of somebody's mental health. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I mean, it just is something where I'm actually proud of the community of Tumbler Ridge in terms of the way they've come together. Everybody is there. It's a small town. It's only 2,400 people living there. It's only been there since the 80s when they opened it up for mining activity in the area. But they're all supportive. And I was listening on CBC the other day to a father or grandfather. He was so emotional. And it wasn't just for what happened to his family. It was just everybody that he knew. It's a town where you know everybody. They're your neighbors. You pass them when you go in the grocery store. How can you not? It's just such a tight-knit aspect of it. In a way that will help, but we need to, and we say this a lot. Fortunately, we don't have the experience in terms of having as many shootings and similar, or having, in different parts, other than there are some, ones certainly that have happened in Canada. But let's deal with trying to find a way to help people who are in a serious situation with mental health, that they would have to think about doing something or resorting something like this to make a statement. I'm just dumbfounded right now in terms of what happened, especially in BC and especially in such a small town.
What I like about these responses so far is not jumping to any wild conclusions like the internet has, and we're just kind of processing feelings here, which is, I think, the Waterloo Region way. So good on you fellas so far as we begin this conversation. And I will just add to something that you said there, Steve, about the presence of guns in firearms in this home. I do struggle with that a little bit, because we have heard that they were at one time removed and then upon appeal returned to the residence. I do have questions about how that happened, but I'm sure that will come out in time. Linda Ockwell-Jenner, President, MotivationalSteps.com, with us now as well. Linda, what's your take on what happened this week in Tumbler Ridge?
Me? Oh, sorry. Hi, nice to see you all again. First of all, I'd like to send my condolences to everybody there, because I don't know any of those people, but I feel for them from the heart. My first thought was, it's time to get metal detectors in schools, which I know a lot of places in America has. And then I thought, no, that's not the way to go. That will scare everybody, and it's not a good way to go. I think we should invest in more counsellors and mental health care, and that might be more effective than physical security. something like peers in schools who have been trained in mental health or have been through mental health challenges themselves. Whereas guns are concerned, I don't know the answer to that because, especially in America, it's my right to have a gun. And if they've given the gun back to somebody who has had problems before, I think, that's something they have to settle in Canada. Say, well, I know it's a right to have a gun, but you're having some problems, so we've got to think about everybody's safety, including yours. What I'd like to do is talk to the three levels of government in this message and say, please work together, please collaborate, and think about the amount of money so far you've invested in mental health. And I know it's a lot this year, but it's not enough. A lot of mental health people who work within that structure can't even get paid enough to actually help the people. So that's one of the problems. But the other problem is, got to get to the core of this. It's not just mental health where guns are concerned. I understand that, but in this instance it is. So basically, we're aware of the challenges, talk to everybody, collaborate, and pour more money into counsellors, peers, mentors, whatever you want to do. And make schools more aware of the training that's offered to them as well, to the teachers. Now, the person who committed this awful crime, we don't know much about them, so I'm not going to say anything about that. I just want to say again that this is a tricky thing. Do I think guns should be allowed? No. That's it as far as I'm concerned. I'm just very, very sad.
Linda Ockwell-Jenner, Steve Bentley, and David Kuhn with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning. It's a heavy subject to begin with, but again, we are all feeling what happened in Tumbler Ridge this week. There's no question about it. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to keep it local, and we're going to sing Kumbaya for our friends in Cambridge, because it seems as though residents and city staff are on different pages, particularly this winter. Friday 4 Roundtable continues this morning on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
It's Bob Marley. It gets even all of our guests here on the Friday 4 Roundtable swaying to the beat. Craig wanted to hear that one on this All Request Friday. Love Songs by Black Artists edition. And if you'll forgive the shameless self-promotion, I was walking around Kingston yesterday upon arrival here with the team. It's a beautiful city. The architecture is just spectacular. Queen's University in particular, walking around the campus. And wouldn't you know, I make my way away from the campus and I come across a little convenience store, and painted on the side was a mural of that very song, One Love and Bob Marley. You can see it for yourself. I posted it to Instagram at the OHL Podcast. Again, a shameless plug. Steve Bentley, Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning. Steve, I'll start with you on this one because for whatever reason, a friend of mine used to describe it this way. If their parents were arguing, they would say that they weren't having tea. They just couldn't get along in that moment. It seems to me, Steve Bentley, that Cambridge residents and staff at the City of Cambridge are not having tea, especially this winter. What's going wrong?
Well, I'm swaying to the lack of coffee this morning. And before I start, I want to give a shout out to the City of Kitchener. Well, I'll do that too. City of Kingston, because I lived there for a couple of years when I attended Royal Military College. So you're in a beautiful city.
Sure am.
What to say about Cambridge? I'll start by saying I think everybody needs to take a step back, take a dose of reality, and have respect for the people that are working in their interests with the city of Cambridge, and certainly to the region as well. We've been dealing with a very, very difficult winter. We've been dealing with a salt shortage. We've been dealing with lack of people who can help. And I think in some cases, and I'm going up north next week, and I read about all these people who are, on Facebook the last minute saying, can you help dig me out? Can you help dig me out? They don't prepare. They don't think. And I think everybody needs to think in terms of we are in Canada. We do have winters like this winter. We unfortunately are getting a lot of snow in a very short period of time. So they need to have alternative ways of making sure that the driveways are cleared, that the roads are cleared, and not expect emergency personnel or city personnel to show up at a drop of a hat, because there's so many places they've got to go to and so many people they're servicing. You think of the number of accidents, just as an example, that happened with snowfall we've had. City of Cambridge has had a bit of a rough ride in the last year and a half. I think there really needs to be a gathering, a kumbaya, if you want, Mike, of saying, let's find out what's going on. Why are we having these issues? It's not the only city that's having these issues. There's a lot of cities that are having these issues. I echo what I just said in terms of people saying, I don't understand why they haven't plowed my road. It's not just about snow clearing them. There's, the bad deal, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of the ION that should have been and should be in Cambridge. They paid into it. Now, in some cases, they're asking to be paid back because they've had no train, and they have no idea when they're going to get a train, and they have no idea what it's going to cost them, even if they're going to do it. So I think, and there's been a couple situations with a few councillors, I'll say, who have had a little bit of a difficulty with doing what they do and the engagement they get involved with and the correctiveness and some of the remedial activity they've had to engage with in terms of respecting they are an elected official. They are serving the City of Cambridge people at their choice. And so they need to be cordial in terms of all other activities. And it's not easy sometimes, but I think overall people just need to take a step back and realize it's not an easy job. There's only so many resources, and we just have to know that they're doing their best.
Tough winter for sure. It's hard on both sides. Linda, what do you think?
Well, I agree with Steve that basically parents are a good example to the children, and children normally, hopefully, respect the parents and behave good. In this case, the infighting is a big problem within the council. This has been going on since, I believe, I've got a date of November the 6th, 2024. So the example from inside the council, I think sometimes gets out to the people who voted for them. And if they're fighting between themselves, which if the press is true, the media is true, if they're fighting between themselves and they can't happily and be united if somebody votes different within the council. So say if I vote for you, Mike, and then Steve doesn't and doesn't agree with us and starts fighting with us, that's what I believe the council are doing, if we can believe the media. The one I'm more interested in is nobody can agree on the encampments, and more people are experiencing homeless. So I think it's the council's responsibility to actually talk to more people in all the government, every government, keep bugging every government person, I don't care what level they are. Just like I said in my first bit earlier, basically, let's all get together, collaborate, find out what we can do about the encampments and mental health and homelessness, but also get it together inside, disagree with each other as councillors, but don't argue, don't let the press post things about you that might be true or might not be true, and be a happy family.
Lead by example. I like it. David Kuhn, your thoughts on the inability to get along in Cambridge, it seems.
Yeah, I think people are frustrated. And sometimes that frustration crosses a line. I think we've all seen that. I think you see it in other places more than just Cambridge, not to pick on them. But look, I understand frustration. And this actually happened to me yesterday. So I'll tell you a bit of a story. I was supposed to be picked up by Mobility Plus at a certain time, and they give a half-hour window. And if I'm not there waiting, at any point when they come to pick me up, they can leave. But I waited almost, it was an hour for my ride, and I ended up leaving before they showed up. So I ended up getting a notification after I left that my ride had shown up and they'd gone. And so I emailed folks at the region and GRT, and I also contacted the dispatch. And I was heated when I contacted the dispatch. And I told them, I wish you'd have called me. Somebody should have let me know, because I was sitting there waiting. And this happens to me. It happens to other people. It's happened a lot over the last little while with GRT. but I didn't swear, I didn't cuss, I didn't put them down. And I think that is but there's a distinction between being upset and being frustrated and being abusive. And I think if someone says, hey, this is ridiculous, and even drops an F-bomb, about the situation, that's not the same as calling someone names or threatening them or, swearing about a situation isn't automatically swearing at a person. And I think sometimes what gets blurred is members of the public need to be respectful, but people in service roles also need to recognize anger about a system failure and that it's not always a personal attack. So you can be firm, you can be emotional, and you can say, this sucks. But once it becomes personal and once it becomes abusive, that's when things stop being productive. And we're not perfect. We all get upset from time to time. And I think the real question is whether we're aiming our frustration at fixing the problem, like emailing or calling somebody and having a conversation, or just freaking out on the nearest person.
I think it's a really good way to look at it and a good example to share. We're running hot. We're going to take a break, get to the news center, and come back with more of our Friday 4 Roundtable on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Such a lonely ride. The breakup we had has made me lonesome and sad. I realize I love you 'cause I want you back. I spent the evening.
Oh, it is Peaches and it is Herb, and it's reunited on this All Request Friday Love Songs by Black Artists edition, because Black History Month, of course, is an entire month. And Dave wanted to hear that one on the All Request Friday. Quick story, a former colleague of mine. Breaks my heart to think back. Like, I've been around this station for a while, and colleagues come and go. And this buddy, Blair, we're still close, good guy. And every time we had holidays that were different from one another, so we'd be separated for a little while, then the one would come back and we'd play that song in the newsroom all day just because we were so happy to be reunited as coworkers after our vacation. So there you go. Blairzo, still miss you, buddy. It's our Friday 4 Roundtable here on the program. We do it every Friday from 11 until noon, discussing the week's big stories. Linda Ockwell-Jenner, the president of motivationalsteps.com, is with us this morning. So too is David Kuhn, the former board chair at KW Access Ability, and Steve Bentley, the managing principal at Northern River Financial. Linda, you get first crack at this one. And I use crack deliberately, like wise crack a joke, because there is this comic whose jokes are not exactly the favorites of everyone. And some of those everyones who do not like these jokes have said that the shows that this comedian is putting on should be canceled. The city of Kitchener did remove the shows from their city-owned venue, but the shows will go on at a larger privately owned venue, basically right next door. What do you think, Linda, of the calls from some in this community to essentially cancel a controversial comedian?
I think we should all ask for this guy to be cancelled. I don't care if he's the King of England, President of America, our Prime Minister. He's cruel. So he made a really nasty joke about this lady, this woman, this human being in America who got, shot by ice. You don't do that. You don't make fun of people who've died. It could be one of his members, family. It makes me very angry and very sad. As far as I'm aware, the Conrad Centre, I don't know if that's what you want about, Mike, the Conrad Centre for the Performing Arts have cancelled it now. Is that the one you were thinking about?
That's right. That's the city-owned venue. Yeah.
Oh, that's the city-owned venue. So, yeah, he's not allowed in anymore. Thunder Bay cancelled him 2 months ago. What I'm a bit annoyed about, So, as a motivational speaker, I learned very early on in my career, if I was the first person in those days with the facts to say, Mike, can I speak at your event? You took me because you didn't have any work to do. It was quick and fast. So I could have been a really rubbish speaker, but I'm not. I'm fantastic. But the point is really, I think that all venues, not just our venues, should check who they are getting on the stage and who they are representing. I know this guy's American. It's not just American comedians who do it. A lot of comedians do it. But this one, I think in particular, is quite cruel. So I think whoever booked him should have researched what was going on in his life, what kind of comedy he did. And then they should have thought, this is not appropriate. It might be appropriate for another time, but not with the jokes he talks about people in a cruel way like that. So I think that's a bit of complacency for anybody who's booked him and then goes, oh, we didn't know who he was. Because that is in a media, so you got to know who these people are, because you could be booking cruel people who upsets the family of people he's talking about. And I think we've got to think more about others than ourselves, Mike. So cancel him everywhere.
Okay, a bit of the onus put on the building where he was originally booked. David Kuhn, what do you think? Yeah.
You know what? I've never listened to the guy, so this isn't about whether I personally find him funny or offensive or any of that. To me, it comes down to, the fact that it is a city-owned venue. Look, we don't have unlimited speech in this country. Like, you can't say whatever you want without consequences. So that's number one. I think people need to consider that. But also, when it's a public venue, the city of Kitchener has policies, obligations, and a reputation to protect. They're accountable to the public. So, like Linda said, I mean, this is on the people who booked this guy in the first place. But this is also about risk for the city. If we're being honest, if the city, believes hosting will lead to complaints, legal trouble, anything like that, then they should factor that in. People say, oh, well, they should allow it. It's public. That's not how it works. Even on private platforms, in private venues, there are always things to consider. And, how spaces are governed and with rules and whatnot. So I'm not going to say that the guy should be canceled outright if people want to listen to it. It's on them to listen to who they want to. But if it's a public venue, then it's perfectly reasonable to say, this type of performer or this person will not be allowed in this venue.
So do you feel better then that he goes to the private venue next door?
Sure. It's up to them. And then if people want to, make issue with the owners of the private venue, they can. Or, the ultimate thing is people don't go and they don't pay for it. And, but that's really up to those who choose to listen or not listen to the guy.
The funny thing is, to me, kind of funny, haha, is that, you say it's up to people who will pay, if they want to pay, to see this particular comedian. I had no idea he was even coming. I had no idea. And you'll notice I haven't mentioned his name once this morning. That's with intent, because I think the uproar surrounding his show has generated more publicity than he could have asked for with any amount of advertising on this station. Personally, I had no idea he was even coming, because I've never once listened to his quote unquote comedy. It wouldn't be funny to me based on what I've read, but never once have I listened. I had zero idea that he was coming until the uproar began. And now I have a funny feeling more tickets will be sold at this larger venue because of all the free publicity, really. I'll move it over to Steve Bentley, your thoughts.
Did I hear he had sold out the Conrad Center?
It may have. I think that is the case, yes.
We have free speech in this country. Okay. But there's still things that are prudent and there's things that shouldn't be touched. And when I read a comment that, with respect to what Linda brought up about the lady who died in the US as a result of ICE, and we talk about jokes about immigrants, diversity, LGBT community and residential schools, to me, those are not subject matters for humor. They're people who are in different parts of the society who have a difficult time as it is with what they have to embrace being part of these organizations and groups. And they should not be the subject of comedy. Now, if it goes to a private venue, I question whether a private venue, if I owned a private venue like that, I would not touch this particular person. And he's not the only one. We've had a couple other people who have come to speak in Kitchener-Waterloo. I remember somebody who was affiliated in doing something at the Wolf of Laurier that caused a big backlash a number of years ago. And that got it canceled, and rightly so. But it is a private venue, so that person can make that decision. But I don't think the public would really appreciate it. And I think it can be actually detrimental to somebody's business. So I don't even understand why they entertain it. Then I go back to who booked him. Do they not have any protocol by which they evaluate this kind of thing, which is now coming up in the news, ahead of time? What protocol do they have? Can they have the ability to say, no, we will not book you? I think they can. And I think they should have some standards by which they look at somebody's, and it's not just in Kitchener or Waterloo. Thunder Bay is another example. Sault Ste. Marie is another example where they backed away from the book venue. And I'm not sure. I think they both went to a different venue for the performance. But it's not humor. It's bad taste. It's insulting. It really is something I would not touch. I would never listen to somebody like that. We also have to take into account what's coming out in the media and what's being said. But I think it at least raises awareness to people to say, why are we even considering bringing this kind of performer, if you want, to a city venue? I just don't understand how that even got booked. So that's
if they don't
really
have
not acceptable.
if they don't have protocols, they will now.
It's a great point. And, David, I hadn't even really thought about it to the extent that you did in preparation for this show. So kudos to you for learning me something today, because I really like the point that, look, as a city-owned venue, there are responsibilities. There should be protocols. If there weren't, there are now. But moving it to a private venue, then that operator assumes the risk associated. Whatever protesting might happen outside, whatever backlash there might be against their business. And I think that's kind of, sort of the way we want to see things happen, right? Nobody here, and none of the four of us have any interest in this man's comedy, if you want to call it that. So we wouldn't support it. I don't know how many people will, but if the venue that hosts him has backlash and loses money because of it, guess what? They won't be hosting them again. If they don't sell enough tickets, they won't be booking them again. All kinds of different things. And to David's point, that's kind of the way it should work, right? Let the market kind of figure this stuff out. Yeah, it's a tough one, but good to have the discussion here on the show this morning with Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn, and Steve Bentley. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, it is that time, right? Let's find out if our guests are binging the Olympics as much as people in my world. Is this what the world needed right now? Did we need these Olympics? This is the Mike Farwell Show on our Friday 4 Roundtable on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. A little bit of Prince and Kiss on this All Request Friday Love Songs edition from Black artists as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. That one is for Nate, Farwell's Force member number 8 here on the program. Our Friday 4 Roundtable this week, we have with us David Kuhn, Steve Bentley, and Linda Ockwell-Jenner. It's always 3 guests plus yours truly for 4 people, 4 topics, and the 4th of them a little bit on the lighter side. But David Kuhn, I'll start with you. I don't know what you're doing in the Kuhn household, but at the Farwells, it's all Olympics all the time. I've never even heard of some of these sports, but gosh darn it, I keep watching. Are the Olympics exactly what the world needed right now?
You know what? I will say maybe.
Okay.
No, no. You know what? I think the world feels pretty unhinged lately. Everything's very loud politically. A lot of it's ego driven. Not that I want to pick on any one person, but I think we all know who I'm talking about. It feels like it's a reality show sometimes. And then you look at the Olympics and you see people from all over the world competing hard, but for the most part, they're shaking hands afterwards. You see countries going at it, but there's rules and there's pride and there's intensity, but it's not all about chaos and yelling. So, do I think the Olympics are going to fix everything? And is it going to stop wars? Is it going to solve inflation? No. And, we talked about politicians behaving. It's not going to fix that either. But I think for a couple of weeks, yeah, it'll give people something to switch to that's not outrage. And, it's not toxicity, hopefully. And yeah, so I think, yeah, for a lot of us, maybe it is what we need. And hopefully it rubs off afterwards.
A little bit like that Blue Jays run back in the summer and into the fall, perhaps. And I couldn't help but notice, David, you mentioned there are rules. There were past tense, I think, rules in the world, this international rules-based order we were all a part of, and things seemed to be pretty good until somebody started breaking every single one of those conventions or rules.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Bentley, your thoughts on the Olympics and if this is exactly what the world needs right now?
So who is this person we're talking about?
I don't know. I just like that comic that's coming to Kitchener, Steve. I have no idea.
I am a big fan of the Olympics. I love the Canadian team. I love the uniforms they have on. And in our household, we probably have the activity being recorded on 4 different channels. Trying to, and then my partner at night, fast forwarding through some aspects. I'm thinking, whoa, wait. Because she wants to get to the sports, the competition. There's a lot of other aspects of the broadcast. They've got to fill a lot of hours. I think where we should draw the line is it's a sporting event. And we should not have to deal with politics and asking athletes about their political opinion or a big person down south critically saying things about some of the people who have put a lot of hard work and effort into competing for his country. Now, let's just leave it there. I really, the one example is you see the Ukrainian skeleton, and he's wearing a helmet where he's got different people who have passed away in the war, and I believe they are past athletes. And it's not an easy subject. It really is not an easy subject. But I think if we go in one direction, it's sort of opening up a Pandora's box. I really think we should take the lighter end of it and just let him wear his helmet. Now, unfortunately, he's not able to compete because of his wanting to wear a helmet to show that. That's a difficult thing. And I think in too many ways, we're trying to keep it a true athletic competition, and whatever else is going on in the world can take a back seat to them competing and doing their best and winning medals for their country. And yesterday, we grabbed a couple of medals. We're doing okay. We also have had some disappointments in terms of falls and they're not well there. I mean, they're all dealing with stomach bugs and illness, and it's just part of going to a general event from all around the world, and certainly in the winter, right? So I think we should just try from a broadcasting perspective, from a political perspective, to just let the athletes have their day and not use it as a platform. And that is what really troubles me.
Well, and that Ukrainian skeleton competitor knew the rules going back to David's point about rules. And, it's interesting. We've gone this far. And Steve, you touched on medals because we get excited about that. It gets us enthusiastic, and not a word yet about the men's hockey team. So I'll just say that because I'm the hockey.
They won.
They didn't just win. You watch, come on. It's so much fun to watch. Anyway.
Men and women had a great day.
They did indeed. Linda, are the Olympics exactly what the world needs right now?
The Olympics are what the world needs Every 4 years, is it? Is it every 4 years or every 3 years?
Well, you
We
get every
all-
two if you mix
every two.
the summer
Okay.
games
So,
will
yeah,
come in 2 years, and then
we need the Olympics, of course we do, but that's not going to change anything. I should start singing, but then I'd put you off air. What the world needs now is love. Love,
exactly.
love.
Yes.
Yeah. What the world needs now is for everyone to grow up, stop being mean, racist, stop fighting each other. The world is not a kind place anymore. There's got to be some accountability. And basically, as we've saw from the conversation today, the Olympics has not stopped politics. It's not fair. You didn't win because you're from this place. The Olympics is great. We get that a lot. It's lovely. I wouldn't say no to it, but it's not going to change the world. We, as human beings, can change the world. One person can make a change. You can make a change. So it's lovely, but it's not going to change anything.
What is that saying? Be the change you want to see in the world. It's not a bad idea, Linda.
That's correct.
Jenner. That's right. Linda is. Go ahead, Steve.
And don't sing.
And don't
I'm
sing.
never going to sing.
But singing, wait, there's something about singing. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect. Anyway.
Well, we can stop it right there.
I'm
That was
done.
lovely, Mike. That
Thank
was
you,
lovely.
Linda.
Perfect
Thank you very
harmony.
much. That's right. Steve Bentley, Managing Principal, Northern River Financial, Linda Ockwell, Jenner, the President of MotivationalSteps.com, and David Kuhn, the former board chair at KW Access Ability. Thank you for making time for our show this morning. Really appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of the day and the long weekend ahead, if indeed you get one. Thank you for this.
Happy Family Day, folks.
Safe travels.
Happy Family Day, indeed. That's right. And stay with us here on the Rangers. Saturday in Ottawa, Family Day in Peterborough. We're here for all of the games. And have I got a story to share with you from the road in the next. You won't believe what I did to myself. I can't believe what I did to myself this morning. Free Phones Friday with open lines coming up after this update from the 570 News Center. And then I'll tell you the story on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
You give your hand to me, and then you say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and anyone can tell. You think you know me well, but you don't know me. No, you don't know me. No, you don't know the one who dreams of you at night.
Request Friday, Love Songs by Black Artists edition. That one for Francis. Thank you very much for the request. We love hearing your favorites, and we continue to celebrate Black History Month here with our All Request Fridays on the show. Fridays also mean free phones from noon until 1. No, unfortunately, that doesn't mean I'm going to give you a phone for free, as much as I would like to be able to do that. But we do freely open up our phone lines and thus the airwaves to this radio station and our tens and tens of listeners for you to have a conversation with. Let them hear your thoughts on the issues of the day or whatever else it might be that is on your mind. Free Phones Friday. And just wait until I tell you what I did to myself in this hotel room this morning. I still can't believe what a moron I am. But I'll get to that because really it's about you. The more calls that we get and the more of your voices I can hear, the better I feel about this weekly segment. It's our last hour together for the week and it's a long weekend. Oh, P.S. I'm going to be away on Tuesday because since I'm working all weekend, I thought, it's the Family Day weekend. You're going to be off Monday. I'll be off Tuesday. So this is our last hour together until next Wednesday. Shh, don't tell the boss I booked Tuesday off. 519-570-2545. Star 570 and 1-800-570-5715. We're going to start with Jersey Bill on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, Billy.
Hey, of course, I've been looking at the Olympics. Sometimes I don't, I can't really get into a lot of the slip and slide stuff, and I feel bad when somebody hurts themselves trying to do a particularly dangerous trick. But I have to hold back. I sometimes I find myself now rooting against the Americans, especially if it's a Canadian against an American. I guess Mr. Trump would probably damn me to hell for that. But he's the reason why I would go in that direction. It just seems it's a crazy world. Every tragedy that comes up, including what happened in British Columbia, and of course down south, because the mother is a mother of a well-known TV presenter, that's taken up so much airtime. And it's sort of interesting to see how people put this stuff into perspective. But if we were honest about it, tragedies are happening all the time. So many tragedies are happening in Ukraine, and Russians and Ukrainians losing their lives in a senseless war. But that's happening almost on the wholesale kind of way. So it's not even thought of that much. But something comes closer to home, and of course we're going to think about it more. Putting it all in perspective, and of course, what's one of your Friday Four people said? The Olympics were some sort of ideal, but I think nationalism has taken over, and certainly the Summer Olympics happening just a few years before World War I broke out, the Winter Olympics starting in the interregnum period between the two wars, and of course, they at least had the decency not to have the Olympics during World War I or World War II, but. Really, we have to take a look at ourselves there and see how much nationalism is destroying this whole concept of world peace.
Billy, appreciate the call. Good to hear from you as always. Imagine that. So frustrated with one's nation is Billy that he cheers against the American athletes. That's a level of frustration, and I can certainly concur with the idea that the closer to home it is, the realer it is, and I guess. That's kind of Captain Obvious speak, isn't it? But back in the day, if you'll forgive the turn of phrase, when international foreign correspondents were far more common in media and journalism. I mean, with budget cuts, bureaus are disappearing all around the world, but you would see something from a faraway place and not think a whole lot of it. But every now and again, I catch myself thinking of that, living in this part of the world, of course, and how fortunate we are to live in the place that we live, despite its imperfections and our frustrations with it, compared to those war-ravaged areas that are essentially always war-ravaged, to Billy's point, right? The closer to home it gets, the more real it becomes. But these sorts of things are happening around the world in various countries and various communities all the time. It's a good reminder. Sobering thought for sure. Let's go next to Gary on Free Phones Friday. Farwell's Force, member number 41. Good afternoon, Gary.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's a long weekend. The sun is shining, and I'm still living and breathing, and all is well.
Love to hear it. Sun is shining here in Kingston as well.
Beautiful. Well, listen, I just wanted to say I hope you have a great, wonderful long weekend, and good luck to the Rangers, and keep up the good work, Mike, and be looking, I'll check out and see how well you guys do, but I think you're going to do extremely well. But have a great time, and keep up the great work, buddy.
Thanks, Gary. I really appreciate that. I'm going to save that for my next performance review with the boss. Love to hear it. I appreciate that you appreciate the work that we do here at the station. We certainly try our very best, and it's interesting. Gary talks about the success for the team on the ice, the Rangers on this Eastern road swing, starting tonight in Kingston. Then tomorrow afternoon, it's off to Ottawa. And on Monday, we're going to catch the Peterborough Petes Monday afternoon on our way back home to Waterloo Region. And it's just a hunch, having been on this trip many, many times with the team. I feel as though we don't have the best success on this particular road trip over the years. So I'm going to spend some time this afternoon crunching those numbers. And when we begin the Harris Law pregame show tonight at 6:30, Josh Piercy and I will have that information for you. It's kind of what I talked about earlier when we had the coaches show with UC Ahokas. We always try, when you join our broadcasts, to give you some more information about the Ontario Hockey League in general, some other things that you might not know about the Kitchener Rangers, or you just don't want to look up yourself, because that's our job, and we'll bring you that information. Our focus is always on the league as a whole and the players who compete in it, specifically, of course, our Kitchener Rangers. That's where we try to excel, and I think we do a pretty fine job of it. So I hope you'll join us. Harris Law pregame coverage again gets underway at 6:30 tonight, right here on 570 News Radio, and we'll be with you right through the weekend. And I don't know. My gut tells me it hasn't been the best run over the past number of years coming up to Kingston and Ottawa. So I'll look at those numbers and we'll find out how bad or good it's been. If my hunch was on, or my spidey sense was not, or it was tingling for the wrong reason. I don't know, but we'll look into that and find out. So I just wanted to let you know, I can't believe I did this to myself. Like, I did this to myself just before the 11 o'clock news this morning. That's the longest stretch I have, because there's a commercial break and then there's a 4-minute news update on the show. So I get a good 6 to 7 minutes to collect myself here on this end. And earlier this morning around 10, I ran downstairs 2 floors to the breakfast room where the team had breakfast today, so I could grab a plate of food and get a little something into my belly, because I couldn't join them for their breakfast at 9 because I was on the air. But I found some leftovers and it was great, and I could fill my belly, which keeps me a slightly less cranky guy. At 11, I just wanted some water, and I had seen near the elevators there was a water dispensing machine. So there's a glass here in the hotel room. I'm going to pop out. But in the back of my mind, I thought, hang on a second, Farwell. Sometimes when we are on these road trips, we have late checkouts, right? We're not going to be leaving this hotel until about 4:30 this afternoon to go over to the rink, because the rink's a less than 10-minute walk away. So we get the late checkout, but sometimes our cards to our rooms stop working, and we have to go back down to the front desk to get them reset, and then we can use them again for our doors. Well, I didn't want to take that chance, right? I'm live on the air with you. And if I have to go all the way down to the front desk and get a card reset, I'm like, I better be careful here. So you know how also on a hotel room door, there's the secondary latch or lock, if you will. And in most of the rooms, it's that metal piece that, I don't know, I don't know how, I'm no locksmith, but you know, that metal piece that you can, if you open your door and then you push out that metal piece, the door will remain open, right? It sits against that metal piece. And that way, just in case the key card was not working anymore, the door would be ajar. Well, this particular door doesn't have that. It's got a little rectangular piece that you can move so that if somebody tries to open the door, it would stop them, but you can't prop it so that you could hold the door open, if any of this is making sense. The bottom line is this. I thought that's what I thought to do. I would use this thing to block the door, but the latch wouldn't stay. So I thought, well, I'm just going to take my chances with the key card still working. And as I'm walking down the hall, I thought I should have just stuck my shoe in the door. That would have held it open. Wouldn't you know, I go down the hall, I get the water, I come back, and the door, I can't get back in. The key card is fine, but the other thing had slipped back, so I can't fully open the door. It keeps banging into this metal piece, and now I'm locked out, and I've got like 3 minutes to get back on the air with you. I'm like, what have I just done to myself? How did I do this? How am I going to get back into the room? It turns out, so I go running down to the front desk. They said they'll send maintenance up right away. And these fellas come up, and they, with a piece of wire, they're able to open the door as the crack it will open, hitting that metal piece, and then fish this wire in there and jimmy it so that this metal piece moves out of the way and I could get back in the room. They had me back in the room by about 11:06. The 11 o'clock hour, I started on the phone because I was outside my hotel room door. But I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I managed to lock myself out of the room with that metal piece after I left the room, going back in to block the door. I don't know if that makes as much sense to you. It was panicking. I was panicking. And I was also amazed, A, at how quickly this maintenance crew came up, and B, that they could basically, with a piece of wire, still break their way into the room. And I was back in, and here we are with Free Phones Friday, which will continue. If you have locked out stories you want to share, or you can make sense of my non-locksmith language, hey, bring it on. It's the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. You know, we doubled up on this request on your All Request Friday Love Songs by Black Artists edition. I don't really need to tell you, right? Stevie Wonder, signed, sealed, delivered. Both Mike and Randy wanted to hear it. And interesting, since we doubled up on the request, Mike is Farwell's Force member number 10, and Randy is Farwell's Force member number 20. I'm not making this stuff up. And that is the kind of coincidence that really satisfies my brain, feeble as that brain may be. Free Phones Friday continues. It's a tradition here on the show, our last hour together of the week. Every week we open the phone lines to hear directly from you about really whatever it is that's on your mind. And back to the phones we go for Jerry. Good afternoon, Jerry.
Good afternoon, Mike. We don't get to chat much. I have a confession. Actually, this call started, I was trying to put in a traffic report, and I guess muscle memory hits star 570 instead of star 401. But I figured you're on the phone. Thanks for doing what you do. I mean, you're often in Kingston, but you know what? Forget how those stories are the ones you remember, right? Forget how
I will not forget. I won't make the mistake again either, let me tell you.
No, but those are the ones you remember. So embrace it for what it is. It's a great story. And years from now, you'll always remember Kingston.
That's true.
And on a quick sort of side note, our little feathered friend that I mentioned you last week is no longer around. So
you found him. There's a hawk in a snowbank, right? That it all started?
Yeah, it was actually a woman that was trying to help it. I was driving by, and I wasn't sure what she was doing. So I had my work gloves cut wood on the weekend. So, yeah, I stepped up, and we took it to rescue, and they did everything they could. And I got to report that, unfortunately, there was more. They figured it was hit by a car, so there was more injuries
okay.
than
yeah.
But it's a great memory, and not every day you get to hold a hawk in your hand. So. But anyways.
All right, Jerry, appreciate the call. Good to hear from you today. And I'm glad you took the time to do what you did and stop and help that woman who was trying to help the hawk in distress. And that too, yeah, you're right. It's a story. The hawk in the snowbank. You won't forget that anytime soon. And, as much as I really appreciate the thanks for what I do, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm a little bit selfish in this. I truly enjoy, I mean this sincerely, I enjoy doing this show. I love these conversations with you every day. I really do. And when I don't get to have them, I kind of miss them. So working remotely like this isn't my favorite. It's not the easiest. It's much easier in studio, but for the opportunity, and look, it's not that hard either. I ain't splitting no atoms over here. Okay. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't think my days are complete or the same without these opportunities to interact. So I appreciate that you thank me for doing it, but honestly, I'm just being selfish. I want to be here. I want to talk to you about the issues of the day and find out what's going on in your world. So next we go to Afif on Free Phones Friday. Speaking of people we haven't heard from in a long time. Hello, Afif.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good. How have you been?
I've been good. I've just, my wife's been with me in the car, so I can't call very much.
Why not? What do you mean? You can't? Does your wife not want to? You don't want her to hear what you say on the radio? If she's listening, she hears it anyway.
Yeah, she gets scared. She's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna do this." So I'm like, but anyways, just wanted to say thanks for everything you do, and hopefully the Rangers win tonight, and I hope also Canada wins today against Switzerland, I believe.
Is it the Canadian women today?
Men's.
Oh, see, I wasn't even following. I got to catch up on all that stuff. I've been focused all on the OHL.
Yeah, so hopefully they win as well. So thanks for everything and have a good day.
All right, thanks, Afif. Good to hear from you today. Let's go next to Tom on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, Tom.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Prayer for the people there in Tumbler Ridge. Some of the, they're discussing a couple of things, but some of those people in charge, they have to be held responsible. What were you doing giving these guns back to a mental case? This is the only problem I see with this. All kinds of guns. They released them back, and they had several problems with this person. I mean, I don't know, what were they thinking? But our heart goes to them. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate the call. I don't know that, and in fact, it's my hunch that the guns did not belong to the shooter. I think the guns belonged to someone else in the house. And what I would like to know is what had happened that caused them to be removed. And then obviously what was done in order to earn them back, so to speak. So I mean, this is just me speculating at this point. I haven't gotten that deep into this, and I don't know that the answers have been given. Again, forgive me for the road show here, if you will, but I, again, don't have all my usual bells and whistles, and getting ready for the show is a little bit different from the road. But I don't think that information has been revealed yet, but it is my suspicion here that the firearms did not belong to the shooter. I think they were just in the house. But that is a big question that I have around this. Absolutely. Why were the firearms removed when they were? And what was it that contributed to them being returned to the residents? Because obviously, had the firearms not been there, we would not be having these conversations, these very difficult conversations today. I'm going to send you to the 570 News Center for an update, but we still got time to talk here on Free Phones Friday. The phone lines are open to you on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
My darling, you. Bittersweet memories. That is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye. Please don't cry. We both know I'm not what you need. And I will always love you. I will always love you.
I'll tell you what, that girl could sing. And it was earlier this week, in fact, we marked the sad occasion of 14 years since her passing. But Whitney Houston and I Will Always Love You on this All Request Friday Love Songs by Black Artists edition as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You for Heather, Farwell's Force member number 92. And Andre wanted to hear that one as well. Free Phones Friday winding down, but not over yet. Still room for you to be a part of the conversation. Let's get right back to the phones. Phil is with us. Good afternoon, Philip.
Good afternoon, Sport. I'm out here driving in the backcountry listening to you, and your plight with the hotel door.
Yes. I can't believe I did that to myself.
That's like a rookie spaz move.
I know, Phil. I know.
So I'm thinking you have a bad left shoulder. Are you on some painkillers?
Yes, I am, in fact. Is it showing?
Are you double dosing?
No, I am not. I don't like the pills. I'm following everything to the letter of the law, I promise. And I feel fine, but maybe I'm not fine. I hear you. Okay, fair enough.
Are you sure? Like, are they pills or suppositories? And you got
listen here. Settle down, you old North Warder, you.
Okay, brother. You behave in Ottawa. There's a lot of good places to eat there.
So I hear.
Yeah, and don't you have family in school there?
I do, and I'm so excited. She sent me a text, Phil. She surprised me. She said, "Can we get together?" So I'm skipping High's Steakhouse. I'm going to see the kid.
All right, you're a good man. You come from good stock.
That I do. That's been a theme on the show today. Yes, I know it too, buddy. I know it. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks, Phil. Listen, I have no illusions about the rookie mistake that it was locking myself out of the hotel room. Okay. And well, High's Steakhouse in Ottawa. Maybe we'll save that story for another day. I've always got a story, but I want to make sure we get to more of your calls on Free Phones Friday. So let's go next to Liam. Hi, Liam. You're on Free Phones Friday.
Good afternoon, my friend. Force member 224 here.
Attaboy, 224, Farwell's Force.
Yep. I was listening to your podcast recently, and how you guys get a lot of unnecessary criticism from how you do play-by-play. And the thing about it is, I find from listening to different people, it's hard to have the same sort of enthusiasm and stuff because everyone's so different. I'll just talk about how Jason, Dan, and Sean all have different personalities and so do you. And as someone that's been doing play-by-play for the Water Ravens, it's hard for me to figure out how to come up with a catchphrase and stuff without copying. I've said "Holy Mackinac" many times and stuff on the broadcast, but I'm trying to come up with something to be unique and stuff, and the only thing I can come up with is "Holy Marmalade" just because of my interest with that stuff. And it's similar to Joe Bowen but different. But I mean, I just wanted to say I feel it's not that easy to do play-by-play and stuff, and if you want to have uniqueness, I mean, it takes time before you get in the hang of it, really.
That's a really good point, Liam. I appreciate the call. We got to run because we're right up against that clock. But I will just say to further what was mentioned on the podcast, because somebody had emailed about it and was talking about announcer-isms, and what I said on the OHL podcast remains true here. I'm here for it. I honestly am. I get it. Look, there are a lot of words to say. It's a very fast-moving game when you're trying to broadcast hockey, and I want to make sure that I'm not falling into traps and leaning on, verbal crutches that I might pick up along the way. So anytime you've got some feedback, good, bad, or otherwise, I want to hear it. I welcome that. You're like my ear checkers out there, making sure that what I'm doing is acceptable. So I'm here for it. Keep them coming. Love the feedback. I totally understand that it comes with this position. And this position is done on this show for today, but we'll be doing that play-by-play stuff later on. Rangers Frontenacs, the Harris Law pregame show with Josh Piercy and I gets underway at 6:30 this evening. I hope you'll stay with us for a long weekend of Rangers hockey here in Eastern Ontario. My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.